Hi, all of you. Today we are going to start with some important point of fixed asset accounting, which will help you for an interview. So first of all, we have to start with the fixed asset. So we have to know what is meant by fixed asset. A fixed asset is a long-term tangible property or equipment a company own and used to generate income. एक फिक्स एसेट क्या होता है? लॉन्ग टर्म टेंजिबल प्रॉपर्टी या फिर कहीं इक्विपमेंट होता है जिससे बिजनेस इनकम जनरेट करता है. अब व्हाट यू मीन बाय लॉन्ग टर्म? Here long term means which have a operating cycle is more than 1 year, or we can say which have a life of an which have a life more than 1 year is considered as a fixed asset. Like we have a plant, furniture, building, land, etc. I have given an example of printer, here the aeroplane, and also the furniture. Here is the building. So these are these are all covered under the fixed asset. So, the next step is what do you mean by the depreciation? Depreciation. So here I have written that depreciation is the reduction in the value of tangible asset due to use. जब हम किसी एसेट को यूज़ करते हैं तो जो उसकी वैल्यू कम होती है उसको हम लोग डेप्रिसिएशन कहते हैं. सो आई हैव गिवन बिलो द एग्जांपल ऑफ डेप्रिसिएशन एंट्री. लाइक we have we have a machinery of rupees 1 lakh, and we have purchased it on 1st April 2024, and then we want to charge depreciation at the rate 10%. So on 1st April we have to post the entry, like we are going to purchase the machine. So uh, we have purchased the machine, so our entry is machinery account debit to bank account. Our bank is reducing, that's why we are credit it, and our machine is coming rupees 1 lakh, so we are going to debit it. So our being is machinery purchased on 1st April 2024. Then we have to charge depreciation at the end of the year. So our entry will be depreciation account debit to machinery account, that is 10,000. We are going to charge depreciation on 1 lakh, that is at the rate 10%. So our depreciation will be 10,000 rupees. So why we are debit it? Because our when we purchase the machinery, so we debit the machinery, and here because the value of the machinery is reducing, so we credit it, and the reason of credit the machinery is depreciation. So our depreciation entry will be depreciation account debit to machinery account, or we have to show the uh, narration depreciation charge on the machinery rupees 10,000. And then we will transfer this depreciation to the profit and loss account. So this depreciation will be transferred to the profit and loss account. So our entry will be profit and loss account debit to depreciation account, that is 10,000 rupees. So here the being is depreciation transfer to the profit and loss account. Then I hope it will help you to understand the basic entry of depreciation. So I am just going on a next part, that is a amortization. So interviewer always ask we have a depreciation, so what do you mean by the amortization? So I have written here that amortization is the reduction of intangible assets. Here we have to consider the intangible asset. Intangible asset is like due to use, like we have a patent, copyright. If we are using these kind of intangible asset, so for a intangible asset, if the intangible asset is reducing due to use, so in that case we use amortization for it. And if the asset is tangible, like plant, machinery, and furniture, then we use depreciation for it. I am going on next part, that is our accumulated depreciation. So what do you mean by the accumulated depreciation? Accumulated depreciation is the accumulation of depreciation and it is showing the liability side of the balance sheet. I am given an example below. It will help you to understand what I mean by the accumulated depreciation. Like we have a machinery that is 1 lakh, and again we have purchased it on a 1st April 2024, and then we want to charge depreciation at the rate 10%. Then in that case, what is the entry? Like we have purchased the machinery, as I have already told you above, that whenever we purchase the machinery, then our bank balance will be reducing. So whenever our money is going, then it will be credit. The reason of credit is machinery, so our entry will be machinery account debit to bank account, and our narration is machinery purchased on 1st April 2024. Then I have shown you above that then we have to charge the depreciation on the machinery. So our entry will be depreciation account debit, that is 10,000 to machinery. But here in the accumulated depreciation account, whenever we use accumulated depreciation account, then we do not reduce our machinery value. We use accumulated depreciation account instead of machinery account. So our entry will be depreciation account debit to accumulated depreciation account. I hope it is useful for you. Then we have a then we transfer the depreciation to profit and loss account. So our entry will be profit and loss. Our depreciation is going into the profit and loss account, so our entry is same, profit and loss account debit to depreciation account. Then I am going on next part, that is impairment. I have already always seen that interviewer always ask the impairment. So we have to remember this part also for our interview. Like what do you mean by the impairment? So impairment is the loss showing in a profit and loss account due to higher of book value in comparison to the market value. Like we in our book value we have we have an asset of rupees 1 lakh, but the market value but in a market value the asset value is 75,000. In that case we are showing the higher value in our books of account, so we have to transfer 25,000 in our profit and loss account. According to the conservative concept, we have to transfer it. That is called impairment. Impairment means impairment is a loss which we have to show in a profit and loss account due to higher book value. That is higher book value in comparison to the market value. जो हमारा मार्केट वैल्यू से ज़्यादा है, हमारा बुक वैल्यू जितना भी ज़्यादा है उसको हम प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट में लेके जाएंगे, उसी को हम इम्पेयरमेंट कहते हैं. ओके, सो आवर नेक्स्ट स्टेप इज व्हाट यू मीन बाय द एसेट रिकंसिलिएशन. So asset reconciliation is a statement in which we find out differences between GL and sub ledger. एसेट रिकंसिलिएशन में हम लोग GL एंड सब लेजर के बीच में डिफरेंस निकालते हैं. लाइक वी हैव अ बैंक रिकंसिलिएशन इन विच वी हैव टू check the differences between the cash book and passbook. Here we have to check the differences between the GL and SL balance. So our next point is what is meant by the asset master register. Asset master register. Asset master register is used to register the assets in our books of account, and we have to show date of purchase, put to use, useful life of an asset, retirement date of an asset, etc. एसेट मास्टर क्या होता है, जिसमें हम लोग एसेट को रजिस्टर करते हैं और उसमें सारा हम लोग दिखाते हैं कि कब हमने परचेज किया है, हम कब पुट टू यूज़ किया, हमने कब उसको यूज़ करना स्टार्ट किया. परचेज डेट इज़ कब हमने परचेज किया, एंड पुट टू यूज़ इज़ कब हमने यूज़ करना स्टार्ट किया. लाइक आई हैव परचेज एन एसेट ऑन 1st April 2024, बट आई हैव यूज दैट एसेट फ्रॉम July onward, like 1st of July. So my put to use is 1st of July, and then we have a useful life of an asset. Like every asset has a different useful life. Like we have a fan that is that has a useful life like 2 to 3 years. like we have a generator that has a life of 5 years, and like we have a laptop that has a life of 4 to 5 years, and there are lots of asset which has a life. So in a asset master we show all the we have to show the date of purchase, put to use, useful life, and retirement date of an asset, etc. So our next part is what is by the retirement of asset of an asset. So here is when the asset get old or no use, then we have to sell or dispose of that asset. That is called asset retirement or disposal of an asset. जब कोई भी asset पुरानी हो जाती है, लाइक एम्प्लॉय पुराना हो जाता है तो उसको निकाल दिया जाता है, एंड सेम काइंड हमारा एसेट में भी होता है. व्हेन आवर एसेट गेट ओल्ड एंड देयर इज नो यूज, सो we have to dispose of that asset, or we can say retirement of that asset. So what are the entries of selling of an asset, or we can say disposal of an asset? So here is the example, that is like we have purchased a machinery, so our cash or bank is going, so our entry will be machinery account debit to cash account, that is 1 lakh. Then we have to charge depreciation, then our machinery value will be reduced, so the reduction of that machinery value is depreciation, so our entry will be depreciation account debit to machinery account. Here is the narration below. Then we we have to transfer the depreciation into the profit and loss account, so our entry will be profit and loss account debit to depreciation account. So if we see, after considering the depreciation, like we have a value of an asset is 1 lakh, and then we have charged the depreciation 10,000, so our book value of an asset will be 90,000. So here we are going to dispose of that asset. Then asset dispose after 1 year, book value is 90,000 and sale value is 80,000. So sale value is 80,000, so we will receive that cash. So whenever, I have already told you that whenever we receive the cash, so it will be debit, or it will if the cash is coming in our bank, so so bank will be debit also. So whenever we receive cash or bank in our bank, so it will be debit. So our total balance is 80,000 which we are receiving, but our machinery going balance is 90,000, so difference is our loss, which if you see, there is a difference in the debit side, not in a credit side. So we have to debit that balance in a debit side, that is loss on sale of an asset, that is 10,000 rupees. I hope it will help you to understand the disposal of an asset. Like I have another example, like after 1 year the book value is 90,000 again, and if the sale value is 1 lakh 10,000, so what will be the entry of it? Like we are receiving here, that is 1 lakh 10,000, and our machinery balance is 90,000. So we are receiving 1 lakh 10,000, but in our machinery is going rupees 90,000, so there is a difference in the credit side, that is 20,000, so we have to credit that balance by rupees 20,000, that is a profit on sale of machinery. Here is the loss, that is a 10,000. So our narration is asset dispose after 1 year, the book value is 90,000 and sale value is 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. So I am giving you a example. I am going on next part, that is a frequently asked by the interviewer. So here is the difference between the GAAP and IFRS for fixed asset. So interviewer asked many times that what are the differences between the gap and IFRS related to the fixed asset, because they are hiring for the fixed asset accounting, so they have to ask this kind of question also related to the gap and IFRS. So we have to consider the uh, this question, and we have to give the answer very carefully. Like, gap means generally accepted accounting principle, and IFRS means international financial reporting standard. International financial reporting standard. Under gap, depreciation has been charged on on full asset basis, but in a IFRS, depreciation has been charged on a component basis. I will tell you about the meaning of it. Don't worry, just give me a second. I will give you an example. What is the meaning of it? In a gap, we have to charge on a full asset, but in a IFRS, we have to charge on a component basis. Like, we have purchased an airplane. Under gap, we have to charge on a full plane. Like, we have a plane under a gap. Gap is used in US, but IFRS is a international financial reporting standard which is used all over the world. So it is more useful as compared to the gap, because as I have seen that like, we have a plane, so there are different kind of component under the plane. Like, there is a tail, there is a passenger seat, there is a pilot compound, there is a tires. ठीक. Then gap, under the gap, it tells that we have to charge depreciation on a full plane. Like, we have purchased an aeroplane, rupees 5 crore, so we have to charge the depreciation on a 5 crore. But in a IFRS tells us we have a different kind of uh, we have a different component under the plane, like tail, passenger seat, pilot compound, and the tires. So they have a different lives, so we have to charge according to it. Like, like tires has a life of 10 to 15 years, so we have to charge the depreciation according to it. There is a pilot compound, so we have to charge the depreciation accordingly. Like, pilot compound has a life of 6 to 7 years. There is a passenger seat which has a different life, like 12 to 13 years. We have a tail under the flight, so we have to charge accordingly. Like, tail has a different life, like 7 to 8 years, so we have to charge the depreciation according to it. It is saying by the IFRS, but under the gap tells us that we have to charge the depreciation on a full plane. So guys, I hope it will help you for an interview. If it help you, so please subscribe my channel, that is CMA Amit Sukla 7046. If you have any doubt, if you have any suggestion related to my videos, so please let me know. I will focus on it and make a more videos for you. Thank you guys for watching it.